South Africa take on Bangladesh in Mumbai tomorrow, and it's going to be an interesting clash between the two sides. I think it's going to be a proper test for South Africa, and we're going to be able to test if we can keep the momentum going throughout this World Cup, because ultimately we hopefully can and show our mettle now hitting the business end of this particular tournament. So we know that this is going to be a difficult clash. You don't can't take any team lightly in this World Cup. Bangladesh has a very good spinning attack. They've got some very talented batters, and South Africa is really going to have to be on their A game if they wanted to complete a victory against this Bangladesh side. So today we're going to be doing a preview on this, and we're going to be discussing it. We're also going to be looking at Aiden Markram's press conference ahead of this particular match, and we'll obviously talk about the conditions and all of those type of things as well, and try to see how South Africa can go into this match and prepare for this match and get the victory that we all desire as a fan base. But before we get going, before we get started, there's a couple of things I'd like you guys to please do. First and foremost, subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell for all future videos. Don't forget to also subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. If you want us to show you support for Cricket Fanatics and everything that we do here, especially on this channel, go become a patron today. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. We rely on your guys' patronage to actually continue doing what we are doing here. So please get involved with that. Also, smash the like button on your way in, comment and share. And go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all your regular updates. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Let's see what we are going to be faced with when we take on Bangladesh. Very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your preview show. I'm your host, Khalid, and this is the show where we talk about everything that has to do with South Africa versus Bangladesh. And yeah, it's a clash that we can't let the pressure release now. That victory against England was brilliant, but we need to keep the pressure on. And the way you do that is by focusing on every single game individually. Try to focus on what you can do and what you can do currently and not look ahead of that. It's very important that we do that as well. So what we need to do is first and foremost look at the conditions. It's in this World Cup we've seen some games where it's been easier to chase and some games where it's easier to bat first. Sometimes in exactly the same conditions at exactly the same ground, it looks easier to chase than it does to bat first. So it hasn't necessarily been very easy to read and predict what's going to be happening in games from a player's perspective and from a coaching staff perspective, because it has been quite inconsistent throughout this tournament at different grounds. So what would be the correct decision will be to look at the ground and see what it's going to be like. There's been a couple of games in Mumbai. Actually, there was a game that we played recently. The last game we played it was at Mumbai, so we don't know how much the pitch has actually deteriorated heading into this game. But that's why we like to listen to the press conference and react to it and see what the players think ahead of the game. But generally speaking, when it comes to the pitch conditions, it's supposed to be a very hot day again with temperatures up to mid 30 and high humidity. And I think in the last game, Josh Butler did concede that he maybe made a mistake when it came to fielding first, and we all said that that was probably the decision that changed the game. So I think that they'll probably do exactly the same thing. The team that chooses that means the toss will probably choose to bat first. But if South Africa lose the toss, it's interesting to say and to speak about what would we do if we do bowl first. How do we manage to deal with that heat? How do we manage to combat that? Well, I've got an idea, and I don't know if it is 100% a foolproof idea, but I think it's something that we should have maybe used against England, and that's bowl Aiden Markram. I think that maybe opening him the bowling with Aiden Markram might be a good idea to try and just allow him to use as many overs as possible so that some of the bowlers can be rotated in spells. Because what happened against with England is after Topley got injured or went off the pitch, some bowlers had to had to bowl 4 overs on the trot, etc., and it really um, got to them in this heat. And Josh Butler didn't necessarily have enough bowlers to be able to rotate to stop that from happening. And I think South Africa will be in a similar boat if we don't utilize someone like Aiden Markram. And I think that's what they need to do. I think they need to focus on maybe doing that, because that ultimately will be a very important decision if we do end up losing the toss and then bowling first in the field in that heat, in that humidity. It's going to be quite tough. Uh, there's a lot of players in the Bangladesh team that are really dangerous, but Shakib's absence um, could be a boost for South Africa. And if he is absent from the game, and whether Bavuma is fit enough for this game is also a big decision that we need to see. Um, Aiden Markram led the team, and funnily enough, he gave the press conference ahead of this game. So there might be Shakib missing, but apparently he did train and had no complaints on Sunday. So he should be fit for the game. But I'm happy that Tuskin is not there. He's out due to injury. So he's given South Africa some problems in the past. But we're going to need to try and focus on rotating our bowlers correctly and bowling on um, decent lines and lengths to try and stop them from opening up and freeing up and getting the eye in. We need to obviously cramp them for space. Generally speaking, we think that Bangladesh are a team that maybe struggle against the shorter ball, but we can't fall into the trap if we bowl a couple of short balls and they end up hitting us. I don't think we should continue with a certain game plan if the pitch doesn't dictate it. So it's going to be interesting what we're going to do. Do we go with two spinners? Well, that's another question, because Gerald Coetzee did really well in the last game, and he's the only guy that you can maybe drop from the bowling lineup if you're going to bring Shamsi in. Otherwise, the other option would be to give Lungi a little bit of a rest, especially because he bowled quite a bit in the last game. The only positive is that South Africa didn't play the full 50 overs against England, so they had extra time to rest ahead of this game. They didn't spend the entire 50 overs in the field, so that will obviously be something that will be interesting. So we need to think about rotating our bowlers. I think that's going to be very, very important. Also, like Lawrence just pointed out over here, we're going to be playing 3 games in the next 7 days. So we need to manage our bowlers' workloads. I think it's a game that we can play someone like Lazard Williams, because on this particular wicket, seamers generally are going to go for some runs um, on this wicket. So I don't think it's a major risk by playing Lazard. He runs in hard. He has energy. He keeps his energy levels up. He's very fit, so he'll bang it in. He bowls a decent speed. He has a fight in him, and can take a couple of wickets. I don't think it will be a major concern to um, to try and play him and risk it. I don't think it's a massive risk by playing someone like Lazard Williams. So that could be another option as well, given that we're going to be playing quite a few games in the next week. But I think let's start with the press conference to see what insight we can get from Aiden Markram and what he had to say ahead of this game, because that normally gives us some sort of understanding of what's going to be happening in the game.
Two questions. The first one is just quickly, is Temba ready to go? And the second one is, you have actually lost more ODIs yourself now against Bangladesh than you've won ODIs against Bangladesh, and South Africa's also lost more World Cup games against Bangladesh than they've won. So what do you sort of put that down to, and does that put your guys on high alert that you have to be fully firing from the get-go?
Yeah, on Thames, he's definitely improving. So there hasn't been a final call just yet on him. I think they're going to make the call tomorrow. But he is at least in better spirits. And then, yeah, whenever you play Bangladesh, it's obviously a massive game for us. We haven't done particularly well against them in the past. So that's extra motivation for us to come out and replicate what was a good performance against England, but more from an intensity level and a standards level. That's something that we're going to try focus on, and trust that if we take care of those sorts of things, hopefully it's enough for us on the day.
That's something that I mentioned plenty of times on previews, is that we need to keep our energy levels up. That's the most important thing. Keep the intensity in the field, keep the energy levels up, celebrate wickets, keep the vibrant spirit in the team, because that's going to be the deciding factor between us actually like winning games and maybe throwing certain games away and losing concentration. In that heat, particularly if we might bowl first, we're going to need our levels of energy and intensity and team spirit more than we ever going to need it. So it's very important that we sort that out and we make sure that we can keep the spirits high. And that was an improvement against England, at least.
What would be the quantum of confidence the gain from such an impressive win and a performance, especially when you're taking on a team from a subcontinent?
Yeah, the game last night, or not last night, a couple nights ago, was a good game for us, but you still have to respect the fact that it's a new game of cricket starting tomorrow, and against the opposition that's become a really good white ball team, and then put them into subcontinent conditions. Obviously that aids them very well as well. So we have to respect that fact. You can never take form as an individual or as a team for granted, and it's about us coming here tomorrow with positive mindsets, taking confidence that we can take, but understanding that we have to replicate that all again to hopefully get a good result.
Aiden, there's been some talk about whether it might be unfair on the Proteas that the other World Cup is providing such a massive distraction, certainly at home. But I actually wondered whether that was a very pleasant and welcome distraction for you rather than a negative one.
Yeah, I mean, we're following the rugby as much as everyone else, to be honest. So it could be a distraction for us, a good distraction for us as well. We making all the time available to watch their games, and I suppose a lot of the hype is around them right now, and rightly so. They're doing some special things once again as a team. It inspires us as a team, but you know, we've not tried to put too much focus on sort of outside noise, for lack of a better word. But yeah, we're trying to take motivation and inspiration from them, and certainly their performance to get into another final provided us with an extra bit of oomph as well going into tomorrow.
Yeah, I hope that that's the case, because we know that in the game against the Netherlands, before the game against the Netherlands, they asked him a couple of questions about the Booker, and they spoke about the fact that they did watch some of the match, etc. So I'm hoping that they got some decent rest, and because obviously watching that game, it's going to be quite late in the evening for them. They're obviously 4 hours late, so if they watch that game, they needed to obviously sleep as well. That's the thing for me. Um, so I hope they rested up, and ready to go, ahead of this, for this game tomorrow, and their energy levels are up.
Hayden. South Africa looks like in the mood of thrashing everything. Other side, Bangladesh is struggling. So, do you think this is the perfect time to meet Bangladesh in this World Cup, according to the condition and the opponent strength and the performance?
No, I don't think you can ever say it's a perfect time to play anyone. I think we've all seen in this World Cup now that any team can beat any team on a given day, and if you don't respect that fact, I think the game of cricket can really hurt you. So
Yep. Humble you.
tomorrow is an opportunity for us to take a bit of confidence that we took from England, but ultimately to try to replicate it. That's the challenge, and that's what we're striving towards. And if we bring the right attitudes and the right intensities, we feel we give ourselves a good chance. It's never a guaranteed result at the end of it, but it certainly aids us as a team to hopefully perform well.
Aiden, you're no stranger to captaincy, but I wonder how it was different the other night, given the stage and the occasion. And then also, there's a lot of guys out there for an optional training session. What's going on?
Yeah, the guys love hitting balls and bowling. But I suppose, I mean, that opportunity to captain the previous game is not down to how you'd like things to happen. It was very unfortunate for Temba, and we obviously missed his leadership on the field.
Wow.
But guys are here, they're keen to always chip away at their games and improve, and I think that's why you see quite a few guys here. But I do certainly think our previous game here was a bit of a rude awakening. We always knew it was going to be hot and humid coming to India in general, and especially Mumbai and places like Chennai. But it was quite brutal the other night. So most of the guys have got their feet up, but there are still one or two just ticking a few boxes and making sure that mentally they go into tomorrow feeling ready.
I love that answer from Aiden, especially what he said about Temba. This is why I've always actually respected him as a future captain for South Africa. I was always in the camp that I felt that he could be the next captain of South Africa. So, saying exactly the right things. He didn't speak about himself much there. He spoke about how they missed Temba, how he wasn't really happy about the way that he got the captaincy for this particular match, which I think is a brilliant and shows the type of guy or man he is as a player and professional. So brilliant answer as well. And also the previous answer, I think that was also good because we know that we can't take any team lightly. That's something that we've been repeating on this channel since the World Cup started. I always said that in our preview for the World Cup, I said the number one thing that South Africa must not do is get ahead of themselves. They mustn't think about the teams until the previous game is done. Focus on one team, do the best, do everything that you can do in your control, right? And we will beat both teams. That is what I truly believe. Because if South Africa can just show up, play with intensity, do their skills, implement their skills correctly, then we will beat most teams. I think it's when those little doubts creep in is when we are not up to scratch in the field. We are not necessarily looking energized, and things start to go a little bit wonky. Then a game can run away from us, and that's a big problem from a South African point of view that I would like to see fixed when it comes to our team. And I'm hoping that the death bowling improves closer and closer do we get to the semis. The closer we get to the knockouts, if we make the knockouts. As the tournament goes along, I hope that we can improve that death bowling because that has been a problem. But yeah, I've enjoyed these two answers from Aiden there.
Can you please ensure that your phones are on mute or on vibrate, please? No beeps or sounds. Thank you. Thanks. Can you take the last couple of questions?
Yeah. Hello, Aiden. How is Heinrich Klaassen shaping up? He looked out on his feet after his century the other day?
Yeah, he's good. He certainly was man down. Like I mentioned, the conditions were pretty brutal, and he did a lot of hard work for us out there, and I think it took quite a lot out of him. But he pulled up nicely sort of after the game. Obviously, the body was really sore and he was quite fatigued, but been sort of trying to get treatment and rest yesterday, and very much so the same today in order to get himself good. But as far as I'm aware, you'll do well to keep him off a cricket field. He's quite a tough guy, and he'll be itching to go again tomorrow, I'm sure.
And can I just ask you, how do you account for your relatively poor record against Bangladesh? Where do you think they've caused you problems in the past?
Yeah, I mean they've a fantastic team, and if you don't rock up on the day, and if your skills let you down on the day against a team like Bangladesh, you will be put under a lot of pressure. So that's probably where we've got it wrong in the past. Naturally, they bring a great attack that is well rounded now. You can't just say they're going to bring fantastic spinners, because their seamers have done a great job in the recent past. So they're a fantastic team, and it's like I mentioned, it's up to us rocking up here tomorrow, understanding what we need to do to get a good result, and trusting in that process that the coach and the captain has been driving.
Just on Classy, I guess two-pronged questions. Firstly, why do you think that he specifically struggled so much? Is it because he sweats a lot, or what's? And the other thing is, like, how does that recovery process look like? You mentioned a lot of treatment. What does it entail?
Yeah, Classy is a big sweater, so I assume it would play a role. But I think for anyone in those conditions, it would have taken a lot out of them, and would have taken a day or two to recover, most certainly. So it's not his fault that he sweats a lot, but unfortunately that's what he does, and he gets quite worked up out there in the middle. I'm sure we all saw that. He's a competitor, and he's really passionate about trying to do well for his country, and I think you combine all of those factors together, and come the end of the game, I think you're quite fatigued. So the treatment and stuff he's been doing, obviously a lot of sleep. It's one of the most important things, and it's quite easy to do. But nutrition, massages, checking in with the physio, those sorts of things are quite important. So he's loading up his fuel tank, and hopefully he'll be in a good space to go again tomorrow.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you spent a hell of a long time in the middle, and he did a lot of running between the wickets, and hit some massive shots as well. So I think that would have obviously taken a toll. We've seen batters that have stayed along for quite a bit. I know he only faced 66 balls or something, but ultimately he did score 100, and he scored a lot of runs, and it's something that's going to take a toll on you, especially when you spend that amount of time out there in the middle. He really, yeah, and perhaps the sweating plays its part, yes, but I think it would have been cramp as well. We've seen a loads of batters in India struggle with cramp. It's been consistently that case in all World Cup games.
South Africa have not batted second too many times in this World Cup, in this year actually. Chasing 200 plus was also a while back for South Africa. So how do you prepare for that in the nets or in the team plans if that situation comes up tomorrow? Because batting first, like you all showed us, is a high scoring game, and the only time you batted second in this World Cup ended up in a loss against Netherlands.
Yeah, it's more of an approach where we're trying to see it as, especially to get in as batters, we're almost trying to approach it as if we're still setting a target. Although we are chasing in the game itself, to apply yourself as a batter and to get yourself in, doing it the same way as you would if you were setting a target. And then once you're feeling in, to sort of try understand the situation and what's required of you at that certain time. So we have batted a lot, and we haven't chased a lot. So it'll be a great challenge if we do get to chase tomorrow and try implement what we've been chatting about on off the field.
Yeah, I hope those.
Basically, on your overall
I hope those plans are in place because yeah, we didn't. Yeah, we haven't really been chasing well recently, and in the past we were good chasers. At the moment, we're not looking like good chasers. So it would be a positive on the one side that we'll get to chase before we play some other games in the World Cup. Um, but the win is more important for me first and foremost. So we should pick or choose to do what was going to get us the win, or most likely going to get us the win.
Campaign, playing in the subcontinent conditions, is your team more comfortable now playing in these conditions? How has that been an advantage?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're fortunate with quite a few guys now being involved in the IPL. So having experienced the various grounds, because each venue is quite different in terms of conditions, and having that experience now within the camp certainly helps us as a team. I still think if you look at it generally, the wickets have been really good. So we expected to come here and the wickets play pretty well. And plans and the build-up towards this World Cup was with that in mind. So that's pretty much where we're at. The experience of IPL players, I suppose, has really helped. And then experience from guys in the management, the coaching staff that have played a lot of cricket here in India or coached in IPLs has also helped us a lot.
Aiden, Bangladesh captain Sakib Al Hasan obviously didn't play in the last match and still unsure whether he'll play out tomorrow or not. So how does the plan changes for you according to whether he plays or not?
Yeah, I think you do your homework on if he plays, and then if he's not playing, what does the combination of their team look like after that? So you cover both those bases really. Obviously understand that he's a fantastic player, really experienced, and a massive player for Bangladesh. There's no doubt about that. So whether he plays or not, we've addressed game plans and things like that we as a team can try implement tomorrow. But whether he plays or not, we don't have too much of a role in that.
Cool. So that was Aiden Markram's presser. We got some decent answers over there. Nothing about obviously the pitch and stuff because we've played a game there already, so we know kind of what Mumbai has to offer in this particular match. We saw how the pitch battered when you bat first, and I think that should be the way we go. The second discussion, and probably the most important discussion, and probably the most talked about discussion, is the team dynamic. I think after a sickness like Temba got recently, if he's not fully recovered, even if he is feeling up for it, I think that we should keep the same team, and that might be a controversial decision. I strongly believe, and I've always believed that momentum and form is important. Not necessarily that Temba's out of form. I think he's going through a bad patch at the moment. But ultimately, I think that form should hold weight, some weight, when it comes to tournaments, particularly when it comes to tournaments. And if Bavuma just came off sickness and he's still trying to get ready, I mean, if he was ready yesterday and he was feeling good yesterday, and then today he trained fully, and then I would probably say go ahead. Then I would probably maybe consider it based on multiple factors. But for me, I think that Riza deserves another shot, given the fact that he did do extremely well after being called up to the team 45 minutes before the time, or to an hour, to say that he's going to play. Right before the match, Temba pulled out in the warm-ups, and he had to get himself ready, and then he goes on to score 85. So that is the gamble over there, because with Riza, you can take that gamble. If it was another player, maybe not, because I would say majority of the time when you score a milestone, it's very difficult to follow that up with another milestone. Not every single person can do that, right? So that is something that, you know, isn't in everybody's corner. So, like, for example, Temba, he could eat form in a match like against Bangladesh, and if he was fully fit and ready, it would be a decent. If it was someone else that scored runs, then I would probably put Temba in. But because Riza Hendricks, because I would say that the probability of Temba scoring runs now, given the start that he had, would be it would be a higher possibility than someone else scoring another milestone, particularly if they are not necessarily regular scorers. Because generally speaking, people will score a milestone and then go blank and then maybe go a couple blank and then score another milestone. That's generally how cricket works. You don't often get a player that can score consistently. But Riza Hendricks is the type of guy that scores consistently. He's shown it in the T20 game. And when he's in form, he rarely goes out of form soon. He will go and score runs on the trot. So because it's Riza Hendricks, I would give him another chance. Why change a winning team at the moment? Especially when every single game is now an important game. If Riza doesn't perform tomorrow, and he's gonna hit a little bit of a rough patch, then bring Timba back in the next in the game thereafter. But because we can't just disregard Timba's form prior to this World Cup. It's his average is the average it is for a reason. So I think give Riza another go. He's deserved it from his previous decision. Now, rotation of bowlers. It could be a really good decision maybe to play someone either Shamsi or Lazard Williams. Bring them into the setup, let them go there, get through overs quickly, because you don't necessarily want these players after a massive uh, with the amount of games that are coming up. It can be really massive for players, their fitness going into the next games, important games for South Africa. So I, I think Rob should maybe consider that, especially with our bowlers. Give them this game off, especially the ones that maybe didn't perform as well in the last game. Because we've got some guys that are energizer bunnies in the team, like Lazard Williams. So why not give him a go? It's not like he isn't a great bowler as well. He's accurate, he's fast, he's quick, he has a lot of energy. He comes in, he bowls hard. I think in a pitch at Mumbai, I think he would be a decent replacement for anybody in that lineup. So so that's something that I think is also interesting. Let me get into some of the live chat and what you guys have had to say. I can't go right to the top, guys. It's tough for me to do that. Timber really misses games a lot mid-series and tournament. He has been recently, actually. That's a fact, actually. That's quite true. It's better we go into this match with the bat winning with the same winning combination, says Sarath. Riza Hendricks must play ahead of out of form Bavuma. Like I said, Suraj, I wouldn't say, like Lauren says, yeah, I wouldn't say Tembe is out of form, just going through a bad patch. He's going through a bad patch. I don't think he's necessarily out of form because the way he's been going out doesn't look like an out of form type of player. He got decent deliveries. Now, Temba's been dismissed like he was dismissed against Rudolf van der Merwe in the past quite a few times like that. That's quite a weakness of his. But in all the games that he played, other than the Sri Lanka against Australia, he looked good and then, tried to go for it and then went out. So he has been hitting the ball quite nicely. If Temba selected ahead of Riza, I'll be very pissed, said Sapple. Good answer, Aiden. We can't take anyone lightly. If Riza has to make the way for Temba, then he will be the luckiest player. I don't think he'll be the luckiest player. It is not completely. Oh, you're saying that Riza would be the unlucky. Sorry, he will be the most unluckiest player. Oh, I get what you're saying. So yeah, Riza is very unlucky. He has been plenty of times in the past. It is quite sad. Lawrence Bailey Bavuma played nearly 3 ICC events, including 2 T20 World Cups. But hasn't done anything special yet. I know he did good in bilaterals, but World Cup is a completely different ball game. I don't think you can string the T20 World Cups in with a one day World Cup. the 50 over World Cup, because he wasn't supposed to play the T20s. We all know that. We all know that Temba's style of cricket didn't necessarily suit the T20 team, and he shouldn't have been selected in the T20s. I don't. His record is not necessarily the best in T20s. Yes, he scored runs in T20 domestic games, etc. But he was still in the process of developing his, I think, developing his T20 game. It was starting to take a little bit of a snowball effect in recent times. But there were players that I could have selected that could have been better choices than Temba Bavuma in T20 cricket. So I don't think you can take his T20 and his ODIs and put them together. Lawrence is against Netherlands. We only two players doing optional training, so good to see the guys are taking time out to improve themselves against Bangladesh. I like the fact that they are taking optional training. It shows their mentality. If SA show up tomorrow, then I firmly believe they can convincingly beat Bangladesh. I think we all believe that. I think T20 World Cup loss against Netherlands impacted a lot in loss against the Dutch at Dharmasala. It looks like Bavuma will captain, says Azim. We're not 100% sure. I hope Quinton de Kock does not throw the bat in first over and we get a little bit more patient. I think it's the right time for Quinton de Kock again to show us his mettle. Even if we can get a 50 fast, I think that's important. That will be brilliant. We need a good opening partnership in this match, whether we chase or whether we bat first. That's the foundation of South Africa's success. Once again, people only look at Riza Temba situation from Temba's point of view, but never from Riza's point of view. All I hear is he's captain and he should play. While Aiden is also a good captain and in form. No time for sentiment on the big stage. I agree with the statement over here that there's no time for sentiment on the big stage. The fact that Temba is recovering from illness as well also adds to that. But I don't think that would have. That's the reason why I believe that Riza should play. I think that Riza deserved to play because he's in form after his performance. They're not the only bowlers that bowl Yorker. Mastering Yorkers takes time and skill. Only Boomerang and Stark have completely mastered it. I don't agree with that. I saw some decent Yorkers from other teams as well. Need Bavuma to talk to Andre Pollard and Siya Kolisi. Follow many sports, but belief shown by them is impeccable. Only guy who comes close is Djokovic, says Berger. Kagiso Rabada, in his early of his career, he was bowls very deadly Yorkers, but now I was this new KG Rabada. I've never seen bowling Yorkers. KG and Lungi, their go-to deliveries are the slower balls. They must have a chat with Kohli for chasing advice. Yeah, Kohli's brilliant. If SA had the mental toughness like Djokovic, they definitely have the team to go all the way. Waka saying we need a good opening partnership, regardless of whether we bat first or second. It's basically exactly what I said. If SA bat 50 overs, they have potential to chase any total, but they panic and lose wickets. And that's true. And also, I want to see when we chase and stuff like that, and we start to lose a wicket or two, I want to see our senior batters step up and really take hold of the game and say, look, yeah, I'm going to face majority of the balls for this chase. Someone like David Miller needs to do that more often. I think that he does tend to give the strike to the new guy at the other end, which I don't think is a smart move. I think he should face at least minimum four balls per over, and then maybe give them 2 or 1 delivery to try and just have a go at it, or to get their eye in. I don't think it's he should always take precedent over everybody else when he's at the crease. What we should do as fans is to support whoever plays. There's arguments for both Temba and Riza and to play. I don't think we should be disgenerous to either of them. Not saying both should play. I meant either or, and that's true. So I'm giving my opinion on it and what I think. Doesn't mean I dislike Temba. Doesn't mean I dislike Riza. Either way I go. I give my opinion on what I think should happen, and I'm just a fan, just like you guys. And I've always been a I've always been a fan of form. It's something that I believe in when it comes to, if especially in tournaments. When it comes to bilateral series, etc., before bilateral series, I might have different opinions because I believe that those bilateral series are there for you to regain your form as well. Because you can't necessarily learn if you're not playing many ODIs, um, and and there's a massive distance between one tournament to the one bilateral series to the next bilateral series. I don't think form then plays a part because you would have gone away, played other cricket, get in form or get out of form. So, and domestic cricket is not necessarily up to scratch with international cricket. So, yeah, I have a different opinion when it comes to bilateral series. But when it comes to a tournament, and especially when you're playing every single opponent and it's high intensity and you must win every game, form needs to play a part in it, especially in cricket, because form is everything in cricket. When a player hits a good patch, you want to try and push them to try and maximize their what you can get out of them. In 2015 World Cup, their fifth bowler, AB and Dumini, were also leaking runs, and Steyn was getting smashed to all parts to add insult to injury. And in form, Abbott was dropped, and rest is history. If Temba comes in tomorrow, that's why form is important, I think, in tournaments. If Temba comes in tomorrow, there will be extra pressure on him to perform because he will keep an info better out to 100%. Why Kuchi has been called as Karate Kid? Because he wears the banner like the Karate Kid around his head. I'd rest Ngidi for Lazard, says Lorenzo. Holly, what do you think about resting KG? He's our ace bowler and recently has lost a bit of speed, so why not rest him? It's another option. I mean, we could rest KG and Lungi and play Lazard and Shamsi. That could be another option as well, potentially. But we know that Rob likes his seamers. It seems that our bowlers perform when they are backed by good scores. We have to change the narrative of falling while chasing. Double victory for us. Can't wait for the final against ABS. Let's get inspired by the box. One important thing, we should also subscribe to the official Cricket South Africa page in support of our cricket growth. And yes, and you should subscribe here too, because we are really doing a lot to expose cricket in South Africa, particularly our magazine, guys. We have amazing stories in that magazine that gives you guys insight that you won't get anywhere else. Interviews, insight, thought processes about cricket. I believe that even guys that are already fanatics and guys that want to be fanatics can all learn from that mag. That's why we put in so much hard work every single month to try and get you those articles. Pak will face SA on some venue on Chennai, which they faced Afghanistan today. How do you analyze the performance on the pitch? Well, batted all right, I would say, in certain cases, in certain areas, but Afghanistan were just better today. They batted better. Also, Pakistan bowled very poorly today. They weren't very consistent with their lines and lengths. They were bowling in areas that was easy to pick off by the Afghanistan batters. So I think to an extent, yes, because Afghanistan kept things simple. I think that's what I liked about the game, is about Afghanistan's performance today. They kept things very simple, and that's a lesson to the Proteas. When you give yourselves the best chance to win if you focus on what you can control and what you can do, and what your best attributes are. If South Africa focus on those things, they will majority of the games will come on top because of the talent that they have in the team. These players, these batters particularly, are world class, and if they focus on doing the basics correctly, once their eyes in, they can become the players that they are. Waller is a bit of a worry more than Temba, says Macmillan. I remember Chandamal dropping himself during the 2014 World T20 and Sri Lanka won the trophy. Van der Dussen and Miller lose their brains sometimes, says Macmillan. Real G, even Owen Morgan, a lot of times dropped himself for the team betterment of the team. He was a selfless captain. Timber should be handed the captaincy to Markram by himself, says Aman. I don't really agree. Khalid, I really know you also want Rija should play instead of Timber, but you can't say that. Khalid, I really know you also want Rija should play instead of Timber, but you can't say that. Why can't I say that? If they're planning to bring Bavuma back, it's better he comes back sooner rather than later. So he's not thrown into high pressure games later in the tournament with limited time. That's actually a good point as well. We should focus on strike rotation against spin. Go Proteas. The Box won the game because with their subs, we need to give fringe players a bit of a game as well. We should score a bit quicker there in the middle and death overs. Last night I saw the New Zealand was batting second slow during the death overs. I think you meant death overs, not death overs or depth overs. We have to be aware of the fact that our batsmen have more exposure to spin nowadays. We should be humble but confident. We don't lack anything. Oh yes, one. What about Andile? Andile is another option as well. Um, will Marco be rested? Well, word from Rob in his press conference ahead of the Netherlands game, he said that he doesn't believe in resting players as a tournament. You play your best players every game. So, yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily agree 100%. But I can, yeah, but we'd have to kind of accept that if that is the case. We can speak about it and say what we prefer, but ultimately the coach makes the final decision, and whatever decision he makes, I'll support it. I'll criticize it if I don't agree with it, but I'll still support it. Once the game is on, I support the Proteas 100% fully. That's why we have these shows, etc., so we can net it all out and speak about it. But once game day is there, I don't try to put a lot of negativity um, into the world. I try to keep my keep consistent with regards to um, with my support for the team, because I believe that putting positivity out there breeds positivity. So that's what I strongly believe. So I will continue doing so and hoping that it continues to work. Um, I got a question over there about who's the top scorer um, in the One Day Cup. At the moment, the top run scorers in the One Day Cup are Keegan Peterson, Theo Brevis, and Reinhard van Tonde. Just to give you guys a quick indication of that. Because we did get we did get see Tony DeZorzi score some massive runs as well in this tournament so far. But at the moment, it's taking some time to load. So at the top is Keegan Peterson with 383 runs. He got 103 50s. Deva Brevis is 372 runs with 200s and 150. Reiner van Tonde is third with 103 50s. Peter Malan 100 150. Donovan Ferreira 100 250s. He's next with 353 runs. Then Dean Alga with 324 runs with 300s. Yeah, 300s. Mad. Tony DeZorzi, 6 games, 308 runs with 100, 150. Mikhail Prince, 7 games, 306 runs, 100, 150. And Patrick Kruger, 5 matches, 303 runs, 200s. So, yeah, that's the One Day Cup stats if you wanted to know. Jaco Janssen is the most important player in this Proteas team. You can't drop him, man. It's not about dropping. we say that you want to leave a player out, it's because of rest. He's a youngster as well. I mean, yeah, he has a lot of energy, I guess. If Rob said that we should stick to that, says Ahmed, Temba or Real, all I demand, Temba or Riza, sorry, all I demand and want is a win. In advance. Funny. Khalid, what is your profession? This is my profession. Temba or Riza, I don't care. All I want is a W. Yeah, so I own Cricket Fanatics magazine, co-own it, and yeah, I run this magazine full time, the digital magazine, the YouTube channel, the website, and we also do digital marketing as well. So that's the profession that we do. Do the domestic players get the chance to train with the Proteas when they don't have matches? I don't think so, unless they go back to their franchises. Uh, Garnata is also a very talented batter. Um, can you check who is the most consistent SA current player in World Cups? I think Rassi or Quinton de Kock. I can do a quick check for you for that. Mm, let me see. Oh, I pressed the wrong button now. I wonder how I checked that actually. Batting records. I'm actually. I wonder how I checked that actually. Um, here we go. Records in World Cup. I'm gonna check by highest average. It probably will show. Yo, Klusner, 124 average. Huh? Risa Hendricks, one match, 85 average. um, let me see. More recent. David de Villiers had a 63 average in World Cups. Wow. And Marco Jansen has a 61 average in 4 matches. Faf du Plessis had 23 games at a 57 average in World Cups, 23 matches. Rassie van der Dussen is next on the list from South Africa's point of view with 13 matches, 56 average. Then Herschel Gibbs, 25 matches, 56 average. So South Africa actually has a very good record in World Cups when it comes to our batters, eh? Yeah, so out of the current players, it's if you're going to look over more games, then it's obviously Rassie van der Dussen. Has the best record with 13 matches, average of 56, 104 50s. So Rassie currently. Mac Burns is Khalid trifecta for us on Saturday. Proteas Box United win. Three badly look alike coaches won. Three baldy look alike, sorry, coaches won. Oh my lord, that's actually true. I didn't actually notice that. Klusner was a beast. How was that Afghanistan versus Pakistan? It was a great match. I watched that match. Klusner, man, he was the ICC tournament and big match player, man. He's a real goat and underrated cricketer. I remember Shakib scored more than 600 runs in 2019 World Cup. Guys, that's all that we have today. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. Click that notification bell for all future videos. Don't forget to Download the latest issue and subscribe to Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. If you want to support us and show your support for what we do here, please become a patron today. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. Smash the like button, comment, and share. And go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all your regular updates. I've been Khalid Moedin. This has been Cricket Fanatics Magazine's preview show. I'll see you guys again tomorrow with a review show. Hopefully, it's after a victory by South Africa. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Peace out, everyone.